Hey guys, welcome back to another video here today on the channel. If you guys are new, my name is Green Machine Sam, and we are doing a 20-year rebuild of the Washington Redskins. They're probably one of the worst teams in the league if you take away just a couple of their key players. The only teams that I even consider worse than them are the Giants and probably the Jaguars. There might be another team that you might want to throw in there, but I conclude this is probably one of the bottom 5 teams in the NFL. Now, when I did record these clips, Adrian Peterson had not been cut yet. I know it has happened just a couple days ago. Well, just a day ago, I think, at this point. So we're just going through the team right now, looking at the team, what they have, what I think we can do with the team. Of course, we'll show some trades. We'll show some more stuff as well. I just think this isn't a very good team. They're in this weird stage where they're still bringing people in, but they're not fucking anywhere close to competing. Their tight end group is a fucking disaster at best. You've got probably the worst tight end group in all of football, and that's hard to do. Your left tackle fucking just didn't want to be there anymore, so now you have to focus on Garyon Christensen. Left guard has been a problem for you for many years now. Center was barely figured out just because some random dude popped out of nowhere, basically. Brandon Sheriff's your only good, real talented offensive lineman. Morgan Moses is getting exposed now because he doesn't have a guy across from him, so that sucks. You guys have defensive ends, but you guys aren't using them to the fullest potential in Montez Sweat and Chase Young yet, anyway. Because Ryan Kerrigan needs to get out of town. I know you guys may love him. I know he may be your savior, but he has to get out of town. If you guys keep using him and stunting the growth of your young guys, you're not going to get anywhere. Your defensive tackle room is now crowded. If you guys are moving to a 4-3 officially, if you guys are staying in that 3-4, then it's a little less crowded. But if you guys are going to that 4-3, it's going to get real crowded in there real fast. Your linebacking core is all over the place, including the fact that you guys basically have a safety starting. Well, a safety at one of your linebackers. You have a 38-year-old at one of your other linebackers. You have a dude that got released from the 49ers because he started beating on people. Your linebacking core is all over the place. Your cornerback squad is all over the place. You guys haven't figured out what you guys really want to do. Landon Collins, I think, is getting exposed, not really having any talent next to him. Now that he does have Fuller, he might be a little bit better. Tress Ways is probably one of the best punchers in the league, in my opinion. I think he's very underrated because he does have to punt a lot in these last couple of years. Your team's a disaster. Can I fix it? Can I build it up? Who really fucking knows? I hate the football team name, but hey, I forgot to make an owner, and then by the time I got through the first season, I was like, wow, okay. That's weird. I forgot to pick an owner, so I can't do anything about that. Looking at who is leaving after this year off of contracts, not a whole ton of big names, but plenty of people with talent, with value on the team that I'm looking to trade. There's just so many people. I don't like keeping people if I can get rid of them. Because a lot of these guys I don't think I'll bring back, and a lot of guys I'm not going to bring back. So let's hop right into things. Let's get it going with some trades. With the first trade, we are trading Sean Dion Hamilton, a 4 of next year and a 7 of next year for CGJ. Good young safety, always on the trade block because of Malcolm Jenkins. He's going to come in and start right away at corner. A center and Ryan Anderson for Lamont Gillard and a second-round pick of next year. Lamont Gillard will come in and fill that left guard hole for us for a year, or even center, depending on where we want to play him. And that second-round pick is going to be better than Ryan Anderson or that backup center will ever fucking be. Let's get on to the next trade as well. Troy Apke for Rashard, Tucker, and Coach. I'm going to later trade Coach. I didn't think I was going to get him. I thought I was just going to get declined. And I thought that I would be able to retool it and maybe pick up a pick or something. But instead, they did give us all three, a fullback, a kicker, and a punter. We'll trade the punter with Dustin Hopkins for a 7th back to the Ravens so that they can have at least a kicker and a punter right away. Ryan Kerrigan, Cody Latimer, and Reuben Foster for Zach Bond, Deontay Harris, and a first-round pick of next year. Deontay Harris is a superstar. We can come in, use him at wide receiver unlegitly, and maybe get him up to superstar X Factor and get him up to a decently high overall. First round pick and Zach Mon are also good additions to that trade. Ronald Darby, Jonathan Allen, and Trey Quinn for Cole Kmet and James Daniels. James Daniels is one of the most underrated guards in the league currently, in my opinion. He's 23 years old. No, he's like 22 currently, 22, 23. Cole Kmet, I think, will be a good young fit for this team. Let's move on to the next trade. Fabian Moreau and J.D. McKissick for Travarius Ward. He popped out of really nowhere for the Chiefs. He's been playing pretty well. he has to take that next step, but I think he can come in and be a starter week 1 for us and be an ultimate play maker. Dontrell Inman for Albert Okonabi. I know how to say this dude's name and I keep fucking forgetting it, but he is on the team now. He's a rookie tight end. He's going to be filling in that backup role. John Bostic and Thomas Davis Sr. for Sidney Jones IV and a first-round pick of next year from the Eagles. Sidney Jones has star, and I think I can get him back pretty cheap on a contract. Kevin Pierre-Louis, a fifth of this year, fifth of next year for Tim Williams, Josh Jackson, and Rashawn Gary. These are all guys that have come in the league in the last couple years and I think are very young and talented. I just don't think the Packers are using them correctly, and I think I can get the most out of them. Hopefully I can. Let's just put it that way. Wes Martin and that backup center for Shaq Griffin, Cody Barton, and Ben Burr-Curvin. 2 linebackers that I think will be good, and another edge rusher. Sean Davis and Adrian Peterson for a first-round pick from the Miami Dolphins. I think this is an excellent pickup for us. Adrian Peterson and Sean Davis will be on the team next year. A center, a right end, and a halfback for Jerome Baker and Roquan Davis, and a 3rd-round pick from the Miami Dolphins, trading with the Dolphins once again. Jerome Baker is no longer worth only 1 star, but Roquan Davis is, and a 3rd. Let's go. 2 defensive tackles and a left guard for Benny Snell Jr., Jalen Samuels, and Chase Claypool. These are all young, talented guys that I think come in, play those roles that we need them to play those backup roles, play those utility roles, and hopefully get better over time. Now, looking at the salary and what will happen after this year, Brandon Sheriff, Sidney Jones, and Trodarius Ward are really the only guys that I'm really focusing on, looking at and going, we need to bring those guys back. I think the 2 corners will be pretty cheap, and Brandon Sheriff, I think I can extend to a pretty big contract, and I won't have to worry about a cap penalty in the long term. This is what the roster is going to look like going into week 1. Now, this is a little bit different than last year. If you guys watched any part of last year's Miami Dolphins 50-year rebuild, it's going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to be a little bit more in-depth, and you guys might enjoy it just a tad more. We'll be playing a couple games every now and then on the moments and stuff, so keep that in mind. We're going to be taking, hopefully, a more in-depth look at some of these teams and how we build them. The offensive line still isn't great, but it does have its bright spots across it, whether it's youth, talent, or potential. I think it's good either way. The defense is really, really young. I think Matthew Ioannidis or Landon Collins might be some of our oldest guys. Besides the backups, of course, I think starters anyway. I think Landon Collins, Kendall Fuller, and Matthew Ioannidis are the oldest guys, and they're only probably like 26, 27, 28. So it's not a terrible roster. I think this is a very easily constructive roster. I think it's very easily underrated. I think it's going to be one of the best rosters that I ever started with. I was thinking about doing the 12 overall basically rebuild, which is basically, the 50-year rebuild that we did last year, where you start off at a 0 overall or 12 overall, whatever you want to call it. And you have to make your way back up into the league at a decent rate. But I figured with the Redskins not really having an abundance of picks like the Dolphins did last year, it's going to be a little bit harder and it would take a little bit more time. So I just decided, fuck it, we're just going to keep with the team and we'll just take over as if we have a 20-year contract, and that's how long we have to win as many Super Bowls as possible. Of course, I'm going to be putting people in positions just to get them more snaps and just to get them more carries and touches with the ball, or just being on the field more, putting them in certain situations. I think I'm going to do so that it can help better the team and help better the development of some of these players. Of course, everybody's not going to be in their correct roles, but hey, that's how shit goes sometimes. So we're going to go with a 4-win season, hopefully. If we can get 4 wins, I think that would be great. I think that would be great for development. The first game that we're going to look at is the Cleveland Browns in Week 3. We do have a breakout player. We do have a bunch of other stuff to cover here as well. Jerome Baker is our breakout player. Now, of course, with development traits, we'll probably hop in and we'll probably try to get those off the basis of we do want to get those guys up and running as quickly as humanly possible. Get them in the right position so that we don't have to sit around and wait for them to develop. we do end up getting, we'll try and sign Brandon Sheriff here, as of course he is one of our top free agents going into this next year, as well as Sidney Jones and Travarius Ward, like we have previously stated. Hopefully we can get it back, though. If not, it's gonna really suck. So this is just some of the clips I actually got. I didn't really get a whole ton with Jerome Baker. I didn't really feel like editing this a whole bunch, so keep that in mind. I think we ended up getting 1 tackle. We needed a bunch of stats and stuff, so it didn't work out for Jerome Baker, but whatever. We did go out there and play pretty well, so we got absolutely manhandled though in this game, so that kind of sucks. Jerome Baker didn't get it, like I said, so that kind of is a setback, but whatever. Brandon Sheriff here, we're going to try to sign him once again. We're going to try to sign him to a big deal so that we don't have any cap penalty facing us when we do inevitably cut him or trade him, as, of course, regression is at the age of 28, and we can't hold on to him forever, and if we have a penalty on him, that would just suck even more if we did want to trade him. Sidney Jones, we're going to bring back probably pretty cheap. He's a very young, talented guy with that star development. I think he can develop very, very, very nicely into a good, solid corner for us over the next couple years. Travarius Ward is also another guy like that. The only problem is he doesn't have star, but he is still young. He's still talented. I think he's a good corner. Kind of reminds me of Deshaun Sheed, if you guys remember him from the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's very, very good. I think he can be the future of that cornerback group that we do have. Montez Sweat does make the Pro Bowl somehow, some way on the NFC team. Dwayne Haskins, not a great year, but hey, what can you do when you don't have very many targets and when your running back is a pile of shit, as well as your offensive line? Antonio Gibson and the running back group overall just didn't fucking perform whatsoever. Gary Terry McLaurin didn't do much, but hey, he wasn't in the slot. Hopefully we can get a whole ton of development points for some of these other guys so that we don't have to focus just on Scary Terry out there. The defense didn't play great. The offense didn't play great. It's just a whole bunch of bullshit. Sacks around the board were okay, but they still need to go up. One of those edge rushers needs to show out. One of those defensive tackles needs to be better. It just has to happen, or we will never have a decent defense in the league. CDJ and Travarius Ward both have very good years. Everybody else has about 1 pick. But hey, if you get a pick, so they're not getting a pick, right? Why am I so fucking tired? I have no clue. I wish I knew why I was so fucking tired. I mean, I know why I have fucking stayed up so late, but still. You know, it sucks when you start yawning while you're fucking recording, but when you weren't recording, you were perfectly fucking fine. So, team did not do great, but hey, that's what happens when you have a team built like this. Still sucks, though. Still sucks. Patrick Mahomes went MVP. We don't have anybody in there, of course. NFC Offensive Player of the Year, nobody in there, of course. Defensive Player of the Year, nobody in there. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Antonio Gibson, even though he scored no touchdowns, so that's kind of weird. Okay, after taking a couple-hour nap, we're going to get right back into it. Khaleke Hudson finished number 3 overall for Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is pretty cool. Decided to take a couple-hour nap. I just wasn't feeling great, so I decided to get off and everything. Now I'm currently waiting for an Uber Eats order to come through, so hopefully that will get here sooner rather than later, even though it says it's about 45 minutes away. Not great, but hey, still, whatever. Let's keep it moving. These are some of the negotiations we are scheduling. All these guys are getting 550K contracts. If you guys are new here or do not know what I'm doing, I get 550K contracts. A, because if they're backup, you don't need to be paying them all that much, and B, if they are just like a replacement piece at best, then you don't want to be spending a whole bunch of money. Now, you could be saying, hey, why don't you just spend a bunch of money? Why don't you just spend a bunch of money to, you know, make sure you get them? Or a lot of these guys aren't very important. They're not going to change the face of the franchise. They're not going to change up stuff so much that you're going to, you know. Now, of course, there's always the possibility of, you know, being able to change the franchise. There's always a possibility of, you know, getting an 86 or 90 for 550K. I've done it before with wide receivers and running backs and even a couple defensive ends and stuff like that. But, and, you know, but more than likely they're going to be those older people, or it's a loaded free agency, which means you're missing out on even higher rated guys. So we're trading some picks here to trade back in the draft. We had the number 1 overall. We're trading back, picking up some extra value. Then we take that number 2 overall pick and trade it back for 2 more picks from the Dolphins. I think we ended up trading with the Dolphins a couple times, but here we're taking Alex Leatherwood, future left tackle. We needed left tackle after Trent Williams didn't want to be there anymore, so we decided, hey, why not get us, you know, our future left tackle, that franchise left tackle that you'll always need. And I was trying to see if Trevor Lawrence would go, and I pretty much figured he was going to go to the Giants because that was listed as their number 1 need, but I didn't know if, like, Madden would kick in and be like, hey, you have fucking Daniel Jones, you dumb sacks of shit. You're not taking a QB. So instead, we take Creed Humphrey here out of Oklahoma. A lot of people were thinking that he was going to come out last year in last year's draft. So, but we get him here, 76 overall. Trey Smith looks very good. The only problem is he is 23 as he is coming out. But still, that's not super old for offensive linemen. We've seen people like Cody Whitehair come out when he was 24. We've seen Garrett Boyles come out when he was 25. So that's not particularly old, but, you know, it's not particularly young either. And he'll probably be moving over to right tackle and replacing Morgan Moses, as we do take Journey Brown and Travis Etienne here. Hopefully 2 of our future backs. Hopefully 2 guys that can carry this franchise on their back. We're going to give them each probably equal opportunity and let them go wild. Raheem Boyd, I just wanted to take as the last chance U fan, but he was not a good enough overall for us, and we will be trading the rest of our picks away. So a 6, a 7, and a 7 of next year. Get us a 5 of next year. This is our draft class. The offensive linemen were great. I think these guys are going to be our future for the next 5 to 10 years, easily. Hopefully they don't cost too much in the future, but you never know with offensive line and how well the cap space will be doing. Travis Etienne, Journey Brown, and Raheem Boyd are just whatever. The draft class wasn't super loaded, of course, but then again, it is a work in progress, so keep that in mind. It's not mine. It is Bengal. His name is Bengal Designs on the PlayStation, but hey, that's okay. It's Bengal on YouTube. Go look him up. He's a very cool guy. I'm in his chat a lot during streams and everything. But he does have the most rated thing. I think he's probably going to be close to 100K. I haven't been on Madden since yesterday, and we're recording this in Share Factory, so keep that in mind. I think we did good. Do you guys think we did good? This is what Alex Leatherwood is going to be looking like heading into season 1 and for the rest of his career, because I don't really change anything. This is what Creed Humphrey is going to look like. I changed him up a little bit. I took the right rubber pad off, and I put a sleeve under his left. Going to free up that whole right arm for a bunch of movement. Trey Smith is going to be moving over to right tackle. He is 6'6". He's big enough. He's strong enough, I think, to play that right tackle position. He looks like a beefy boy. He can play that beefy boy position. This is what Journey Brown's going to look like heading into our franchise. Just a simple look of the double armbands around the elbows. So that's cool. This is what Travis Etienne is going to look like rocking that number 30. So we're trading Morgan Moses and Bryce Love for a future 1. We're trading Cole Holcomb, Marnie Watts, and Greg Stroman for O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate was literally just a cap hit problem for some reason, even though each of these guys cost less than $1 million on the left side, our guys. So we just had to take Cameron Brate off their hands for cap reasons. Cameron Brate, Kelvin Harmon go to the Packers for a second-round pick, And then those 2 guys are just for cap reasons. Antonio Gibson and Jalen Samuels go, and a 3 go to the Panthers for a 1 of this year. That being said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff, turn on post notifications. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace. I ran late. Sorry. Bye.